Welcome to the deep dive.
Yeah.
Today we're going to be exploring something called emotional intelligence, or EI for short.
Okay.
It's a topic that's really like buzzing in 2025, and we're going to kind of see why.
Mm-hmm.
The deep dive that we're going to do today is based on this book, Emotional Intelligence, the key to personal and professional success.
That's cool.
So get ready to unpack some serious knowledge about your emotions and how much they really matter.
It's fascinating how much emphasis is placed on IQ, but emotional intelligence is actually a skill you can actively develop. It's like a secret weapon you can hone to navigate this increasingly complex world we live in.
Okay, I'm intrigued, but before we go any further, let's just get on the same page.
Sure.
Can you give us a clear definition of emotional intelligence?
Absolutely. Emotional intelligence is your ability to navigate the world of feelings,
Okay.
both yours and others, to achieve your goals and build stronger relationships.
Okay.
It's about recognizing, understanding, and managing emotions effectively.
So it's not just about being nice or touchy-feely.
Right.
There's a real strategic element to it.
Exactly. It's about using your understanding of emotions to your advantage.
Okay.
Now, this book breaks down emotional intelligence into 5 key components: self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills.
5 components, got it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with self-awareness.
Okay.
What's a surprising insight about this component that our listeners should know?
Well, self-awareness is like having an inner GPS guiding you.
Mm.
The better you know your own emotional terrain, the smoother your journey will be.
Okay.
It's about understanding how your emotions influence your thoughts and actions and being aware of your strengths and weaknesses. Leaders with strong self-awareness, for example, make better decisions because they understand their own biases.
So it's about knowing yourself inside and out.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Now, the next component, self-regulation, is all about managing those impulsive feelings and reactions.
Okay.
Imagine you're leading a project and a key team member suddenly quits. Oh, right.
How you manage your frustration and adapt your plan showcases your self-regulation skills.
So it's about staying cool under pressure.
Yes.
So it's like having a reliable emotional thermostat that keeps things balanced.
That's a great way to put it.
I like that.
Now, let's move on to motivation.
Okay.
Many people might be surprised to learn that motivation is a core component of emotional intelligence.
Oh, interesting.
But here's a surprising fact. Motivation in the context of EI isn't just about external rewards. It's about the inner drive to overcome obstacles.
Yeah.
Think of it as the fuel that keeps you going, even when things get tough.
That's an interesting take on motivation.
Right.
It's not just about chasing carrots, but having that internal fire to keep pushing forward. Okay, what about empathy? How does that fit into the picture?
Empathy is the ability to truly understand and share the feelings of others.
Okay.
Think of it as stepping outside of your own perspective and putting yourself in someone else's shoes.
This is crucial for building strong relationships, both personally and professionally.
Some might argue that empathy is a weakness, especially in a competitive environment.
Sure.
How does our source address that?
That's a great question. The source actually highlights how empathy can be a strength, particularly in leadership.
Oh, okay.
By understanding the perspectives and emotions of others, you can build trust, resolve conflicts more effectively, and create a more collaborative and supportive environment.
Right.
It's not about being a pushover. It's about leveraging emotional understanding to achieve better outcomes.
So empathy is more about strategic understanding than just being nice.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, what about that last component, social skills?
Social skills are all about building and maintaining positive relationships. It's about effective communication, being able to influence and inspire others, and navigating challenging social situations with grace.
Okay.
You could say it's the art of connecting and building rapport with others.
Okay, so we've got these 5 components that make up emotional intelligence: self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills.
Exactly.
Now that we understand the building blocks of EI, let's explore why it's become so crucial in 2025.
Okay.
What's changed?
That's where things get really interesting. The world is changing rapidly, and the skills that were once considered secondary are now becoming essential for success.
It sounds like you're about to tell us why EI isn't just some feel-good concept.
Yeah.
The stakes are higher now, right?
Exactly. Our source material highlights a few key trends that are making emotional intelligence more important than ever before.
I'm all ears. What's making EI so critical in 2025?
Well, first we have the rise of AI and automation. As machines take over more technical tasks, The uniquely human skills, like those involved in emotional intelligence, are becoming increasingly valuable.
So it's not about competing with robots.
Pre-
It's about focusing on what we as humans do best.
Precisely. Machines can analyze data, but they can't replicate the human touch. They can't build trust, inspire teams, or resolve conflicts in the nuanced way that emotionally intelligent leaders can.
That's a reassuring thought. So rather than fearing AI, we should be focusing on honing those skills that set us apart. What else is contributing to this EI surge?
The second reason is workplace trends. Companies are starting to prioritize EI in a big way.
I'm curious to know more about this. How are companies actually using EI in the workplace?
More and more organizations are realizing that employees with high EI contribute to better team dynamics, increased productivity, and stronger leadership. In fact, many are incorporating EI assessments into their hiring and promotion processes.
Wow, so this is something listeners should really be paying attention to.
Yeah,
If companies are looking for EI skills, it's a smart move to start developing those strengths now.
absolutely. And this brings us to the third reason, the increased focus on mental health and well-being, particularly in the post-pandemic world. We're seeing a greater understanding of how stress impacts individuals and workplaces.
That makes sense. We've all been through a lot collectively, and there's more awareness now about the importance of mental health than ever before.
Right, and this is where emotional intelligence comes in. Individuals with strong EI are better equipped to handle stress, support their colleagues, and contribute to a healthier and more supportive work environment.
So it's not just about individual success, it's about creating a more positive and resilient workplace culture as a whole.
Exactly. And the benefits of emotional intelligence extend far beyond the workplace. Our source material also points to the importance of EI in personal relationships.
I can see how that would be true. Whether we're talking about family, friendships, or romantic relationships, understanding and managing emotions plays a huge role in building stronger, healthier connections.
You hit the nail on the head. Now, it's one thing to understand the concept of EI.
Right.
It's another to actually put it into practice. How can we actually improve our emotional intelligence?
That's the million-dollar question. Are there specific techniques or strategies we can use to boost our EI?
Absolutely. And the good news is there are concrete steps you can take. The first step, and perhaps the most foundational, is practicing self-reflection.
Self-reflection. It sounds like we need to become emotion detectives, carefully observing our inner world.
Exactly. And there are many ways to do this. Some people find journaling helpful, others prefer meditation or mindfulness practices. You can even ask for feedback from trusted friends, family members, or mentors.
I'm already starting to think about some patterns in my own life. It's
Yeah.
amazing how much we just move through our days without really stopping to examine our emotional responses.
It's true. We often operate on autopilot, but by becoming more aware of our emotional patterns, we gain a greater sense of control over how we respond to situations. And that brings us to the next step, developing stress management techniques.
Okay, stress management. This is something I think everyone can relate to. Life is full of stressful situations, both big and small. How can we equip ourselves to handle those moments with more grace and resilience?
Well, there are a variety of techniques that can be helpful, and it's often about finding what works best for you individually. Our source material mentions mindfulness, which can be incredibly powerful in helping us stay grounded in the present moment rather than getting swept away by anxious thoughts.
Mindfulness seems to be everywhere these days. What exactly does it entail, and how does it help with stress management?
Mindfulness is about cultivating a state of non-judgmental awareness of the present moment. It's about paying attention to your thoughts, feelings, and sensations without getting carried away by them. There are various mindfulness practices, such as meditation, or simply taking a few moments to focus on your breath.
So it's like hitting the pause button on our autopilot mode and choosing a more intentional response.
Hmm.
I've tried some basic meditation, and it definitely helps to create a sense of calm. What other stress management techniques can we explore?
Exercise is another fantastic tool for managing stress. Physical activity releases endorphins, which have mood-boosting effects.
I know I always feel better after a good workout. It's like I've literally sweated out some of the stress.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be anything extreme. Even a brisk walk or some gentle stretching can make a difference. The key is to find activities you enjoy and incorporate them into your routine. Now, in addition to mindfulness and exercise, improving your listening skills is crucial.
You mean active listening, really being present in the conversation?
Precisely. Active listening involves paying attention not only to what the other person is saying, but also to their nonverbal cues, their body language, tone of voice, facial expressions.
This makes me think about those times when I've been so focused on formulating my response that I've missed half of what the other person was saying.
It happens to the best of us. But by practicing active listening, we can deepen our understanding of others and create more meaningful connections. And speaking of connections, that brings us to the next step, strengthening your empathy.
Empathy, that ability to walk a mile in someone else's shoes. How do we cultivate more of that?
One of the most effective ways to develop empathy is to simply make a conscious effort to see things from another person's perspective. Before reacting to a situation, take a moment to consider their point of view. What might they be thinking or feeling? What experiences have shaped their perspective?
It's like hitting the pause button on our own judgments and assumptions.
Exactly. And remember, empathy doesn't necessarily mean agreeing with the other person. It's about understanding their feelings, even if you don't share them. And this leads us to our final step, building stronger relationships.
This feels like the culmination of all the other steps we've discussed. If we're practicing self-awareness, managing our stress, listening actively, and cultivating empathy, it stands to reason that our relationships would benefit. But what are some practical ways we can invest in those connections?
One of the simplest yet most powerful things you can do is to simply spend quality time with the people you care about. Put away your phone, disconnect from distractions, and engage in meaningful conversations. Show genuine interest in their lives, ask thoughtful questions, and really listen to their responses.
It's about being present, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of small gestures of kindness and appreciation. A handwritten note, a thoughtful gift, or simply offering a helping hand can go a long way in strengthening your bonds with others.
These are all great tips, but I have to admit, it feels like a lot to take in.
Mm.
Where do we even begin? Is there one thing listeners can focus on today to start improving their EI?
Well, if I had to pick just one thing, it would be
Yeah.
that continuous self-reflection and practice.
So it's not about achieving some like perfect level of emotional intelligence.
Right.
It's about like the ongoing journey
It is.
of growth and development.
Exactly. And the cool thing is
Yeah.
the rewards are immense.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
From like defining emotional intelligence and its 5 key components
Right.
to like exploring why it's become so crucial in 2025.
Yeah.
We've even like touched upon some techniques to enhance our EI.
It's been a really comprehensive deep dive.
It has.
And I think the key takeaway is that emotional intelligence is no longer just like a nice to have.
Right.
It's a must have.
Especially in a world that's becoming so complex.
Yeah.
And so technology driven.
Exactly.
Our ability to connect with and understand each other on an emotional level is more valuable than ever.
I couldn't agree more. And remember, it's not about being perfect.
Right.
It's about being willing to learn and grow and to continuously strive to become more emotionally intelligent individuals.
I love that. And as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought.
Okay.
So knowing what you know now about the power of emotional intelligence,
Yeah.
what's one small step you can take today to start strengthening yours?
That's a great question. I encourage all our listeners to really think about that.
Yeah. Maybe it's taking a few minutes to practice mindfulness
Yeah.
or making a conscious effort to really listen to someone you care about.
Exactly.
Whatever it is, make that commitment to yourself to invest in your emotional well-being.
Remember, every journey begins with a single step. And even the smallest actions can create a ripple effect that leads to positive change.
Love that. That's such a good point. The journey to mastering emotional intelligence may be ongoing, but as our deep dive has shown, the rewards are immense. So keep exploring, keep learning, and keep embracing the power of your emotions. Until next time, happy diving.